Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of the Spellements series. This week we are going to focus on Gambits, what they do, how to activate them, and going through the symbols, hopefully so that you can better understand how to read them for yourself. As stated in the last video, most Spellements have two different paths, ranging from increasing damage or adding a secondary effect. In order to understand Spellements, you need to understand a lot of the symbols that show up on the cards. Many symbols revolve around the two main aspects of Wizard101, which are charms and wards. Charms can be anything such as blades or weaknesses as long as they revolve up here, and wards can be anything that revolve around here, such as a positive ward as a shield or a negative ward which would be a trap, as well as hanging effects which are damage over times or heal over times that appear down here. The symbol for whether something is a positive or negative ward can be found here and here, with a full shield symbol meaning that it is a positive ward, and a slash between it with a broken shield means that it's a negative ward. The same thing applies to positive charms and negative charms. As you can see here, this is not the same for every school, and I suspect this is them still updating the different symbols on the cards. But this still tells you that a trap and a shield are both considered to be wards. This information is important to know because, as you can see here, this Snow Serpent spell has a gambit that is activated with a negative ward on the enemy. So as I use the Snow Serpent spell, it will then turn this negative ward into two weaknesses that are 20% and then do the damage as the card said. It is also important to note that even though converts are a type of ward, they are not considered a negative ward as you might expect. As you see, it did not apply the weakness before doing the damage. Now, as you can see here, this spell is activated by a positive ward on self. So I'm going to go ahead and cast this Frost Beetle. As you can see, it took away one of the shields that I had on and replaced it with a shield of the enemy's school. So now I have a fire shield that was taken away from one of the mist shields. So this is another type of gambit called a clear spell. In this case, it says that it will clear 2 negative charms from self. Right now I have 4 negative charms around me. Since I do damage first, it's going to use one of those negative charms to reduce my damage. It will use 2 negative charms to apply the secondary effect, and then it will also keep one on because it only has a maximum of 2 negative charms that it will clear. And so for each negative charm that it removes, it's going to add an ice trap and then a fire shield to myself. So as you can see that the card says, it cleared away 2 negative charms from myself, and for each one that it removed, it added a 20% fire shield to myself and a 20% ice trap to my target. So with all the information you have now, what do you think Ice Wyvern will do? Leave a comment below with what you think it will do, and let's see if you were right. So as you can see on the card, it says that for every positive charm the target has, it will clear 2 of them and place a 40% ice trap in its place. So those are examples of gambits that work based on the charms and wards of the caster or the target. Now the third type of gambit is called an echo. So I'm going to showcase now what an echo does. So what echo does is, instead of like gambit and clear, it doesn't get rid of the shields, but instead it keeps them on the enemy but gives you your own. So as you can see here, since my enemy has all these shields on them, I'm just going to echo themselves and give myself a shield. And since it's a maximum of 3 shields, then I get 3 shields back to myself, even though they had more than 3 shields. So in this case, what do you think this spell is going to do? That's right, since it already had a blade on it, it echoed the blade and gave it to me, but in this case, it's a pierce blade because that's what the card says. And now as you can see on this card, there's a new symbol to be had. And it's an echo that echoes a heal over time. So now as you can see, we've gained a heal over time since our enemy has a heal over time. So as you can probably guess, heal over time and damage over time are the last major gambit activators found in the game. So in this case, this Cyclops spell only applies a damage over time trap if there is a damage over time on the enemy. So since there currently is no damage over time on the enemy, there's not going to be a trap cast after the Cyclops. So now this round I'm going to apply a damage over time, or a deferred damage, onto the Jade Oni. And now I can apply a damage over time trap because the enemy now has a damage over time. So now the Jade Oni has a damage over time trap that can only be activated by a damage over time. So charms, wards, heal over times, and damage over times are the main ways to activate a gambit. I could also go over all the different gambits that are involved in doubling the damage of your Scion spell, but I think that each Scion spell is pretty straightforward based on the text of the card for what you need in order to activate the 2 times damage. So hopefully this video helped you understand how to read gambits better, what the different text on the cards means, what the main different activators are, and if you're still confused, keep a lookout for another guide on all the different symbols in the game in order to help you even better understand what a card is saying. If you're still confused on anything, leave a comment below, like and subscribe this video for more guides in the future.